Hey, welcome back to Not Fully Qualified. This is our
third episode.
Hey Now.
We're Sara and Taylor, and this podcast is about pretty much navigating adulthood, trying to figure things out as we go.
So with this video posted, for me at least, this will be the most that I posted on YouTube. Well,
Woo!
yeah, actually probably the most consecutive I posted on YouTube. I made it two vlogs before, and then another two vlogs, and then I stopped. And then, so this will be the third posting on YouTube.
Nice job.
We have 8
Good
subscribers, I think. 8 total subscribers.
Woo.
And
800%.
and 3 hours total of watch time. So hey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more, please.
So, any wins or fails this week?
Any wins? Yeah, I had some wins. The first win I would say would be I went to we went to Costco. We went to the Business Center Costco.
Yeah, first time going there.
If you haven't been to the Business Center Costco, definitely check it out. It's more meat centric, well, more food centric, snack focused.
A little bit. I think they cater to restaurant, little small businesses, stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
So not to your like average consumer that's wanting a kayak or
clothes
or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely a lot more kitchen supplies, different typs of meats, which is why we went.
So yeah, we bulk bought meat. I think we bought just the eye of round. No. What was it? Shit. Chuck eye. The chuck eye we bought was 26 pounds. Then we got
That's a big boy.
We got lamb chops, like 7 pounds of lamb chops. No, 6 pounds of lamb chops.
Chicken breast.
One thing of chicken breast, one thing of chicken thighs, a whole pork tenderloin. That was about 12 pounds. And then we got a pork belly with the skin on, a huge one. That's for next weekend, Labor Day barbecue. And then I think that's all
just
we got.
Some veggies,
and some veggies,
stuff like that.
But
some
we
snacks.
got enough meat to feed an army basically, and the idea was to cut up all the meat and portion it out so we could have it for our weekly meals rather than using a meal delivery service to see if we could lower down our per meal cost.
Yeah, although we really stacked ourselves today because now we have to cook 5 different meats today for the week, as well as some of the veggies, and we have our wedding shower today with your family, so it's a jam-packed day.
The carnivore diet's coming in strong right now.
And what made you interested in the carnivore diet? Carnivore diet sounds awesome.
The carnivore diet sounds like I'd be eating funnel cakes and fried Oreos and
that sounds pretty awesome.
That sounds like a better diet than I'm trying. No, nothing in particular. I've just been following a lot of people on the interwebs, and they always talk about the carnivore diet. And actually, my friend lost a ton of weight on the carnivore diet. Well, a modified carnivore diet. Not that I need to lose any weight, but I love eating red meat and I love eating that type of food. So I was just like, let me try this out for a little bit. And I think that I could have a cheaper per cost meal than what we were paying for our meal delivery service.
Yeah.
And I just want to start trying to eat less processed foods. I know that's
which is really hard to do.
Really hard considering I just ate a crap ton of ice cream last night.
Hey, that was the first time in forever.
But I'm trying to eat some more unprocessed foods, some more whole food centric diet. So that's going to be like meat, chicken, eggs, fruit, vegetables. Really, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. I'll probably throw in the occasional chomps bar, and maybe a protein bar here and there. But I'm really going to try to focus on the whole foods.
Yeah, and we used to drink protein shakes.
On the daily.
Yeah, I used to drink it every day for breakfast.
Yeah.
You probably had it twice a day, I think.
Oh yeah, and the bloating from that was just the worst.
So how did you figure that out?
I just cut it out from my diet, and then I was like...
Because you saw it somewhere, right? And it
could
cause that.
Yeah, I just like the whey protein and the artificial flavoring and sweeteners that's in all that could cause some stomach issues, and then so I just cut that out, and I've been fine ever since. We got some WWE.
Yeah.
Sorry, our cats are
distracted.
Our cats are going at it right now in the background. They're wrestling pretty hardcore. So yeah, I cut out the protein and the protein bars and all that, and I immediately felt a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, from you, when I used to go to bed, I was like tooting up the storm back in the day. Like it was literally like 1 to 5 every couple seconds, but now like it's kind of
it's been noticeable.
and it's
noticeable
like
change.
it's a big change.
So keeping on that.
So we'll see how that feels. And then maybe on the work front, another win was we have this drug-free workplace policy that I'm getting. I'm in HR as well as VP of operations.
You wear a lot of hats.
So I wear a lot of hats, but we had to get a drug-free workplace policy put into place at all of our locations. So on Thursday and Friday, I was doing a lot of reading. Basically, each state that we're in has a 30-page document in order how to put this policy into place.
All different rules, I'm sure.
All different rules from different states. California is the most strict. So thankfully, I read California's first and kind of went on from there. But I think the win was inching that football closer to the goal line of getting that policy put into place.
Yeah. I mean, I'm impressed because when I was in my corporate job, I also sometimes helped with HR tasks, and those are the most dry documents you could ever read.
It's really like
your eyes.
It's awful. It was 31 pages of dry. All right, if they say this, then you need to do that, and then you need to present them with this policy, and then you have to have this, and then this, and it's it was a lot. But those are my 2 wins for the week. Any fails? Not really. I don't think I had any fails to write home about. I guess I'm not.
Which I was saying you weren't trying hard enough.
I guess I'm not pushing myself hard enough then. So maybe next week I'll come up with some fails that happened to me. But what about you? How was your week?
For me, I mean, we posted episode 2 last week, which was exciting. I finally got us on Apple Podcasts. Had to figure that out.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we're now on Apple Podcasts. I wanted to create a separate Apple ID so that it wouldn't be tied to my personal.
I just spilled water all over me.
That's your fail for the week. And so I was excited. I had to call Apple because I didn't think about using my personal number to set that up. And if you do that, Apple's security, they have it flagged that you're trying to associate too many Apple IDs with the same number. I guess that's probably how they prevent fraud and stuff like that, but it locked me out. And I only tried twice. And then I had to create a Google Voice number attached to our not fully qualified Gmail, which again, if you want to contact us at notfullyqualified@gmail.com. But I had to create a Google Voice number to use separately. And then I had to call Apple to unlock the Apple ID I was trying to create. Finally did that and then got us up. So thankfully it seems like if I can figure it out, literally anyone can figure out Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I think it's called Apple Connect, but got us on there. We posted. I think room for improvement for us is that we get it up on YouTube because you handle the editing and posting that on YouTube. So we get up on Wednesday. And then I actually went down to San Diego for a hair and makeup trial for our wedding, which was exciting. That was my win.
Nice.
I was really happy with my makeup artist and hair. She's both my hair and makeup. And I was really happy with the final results. I had to drive 3 hours each way. It was like a 2.5 hour process. And then as soon as I came home, I had to quickly rip everything off so that it could keep it a surprise for you. But yeah, so that meant I didn't get it up on Spotify and Apple until Thursday or Friday. So trying to get
shorten
everything.
that time frame.
Yeah, and same with being a little bit on top of our Instagram account, which is also not fully qualified, and posting about it on Wednesdays. I'm trying to get everything on Wednesdays, so a little room for improvement there. And then my other win for the week was I asked 3 people, and so far 2 of them have responded. And I asked them to be guests on our show.
Woo!
And they said yes, so that's a huge win that I already got.
Do they know we're super green?
I did mention that we've only had 2 podcast episodes, so I hope that was implied. And I told them probably late September we'll try to get on that so I can also learn how to interview people by then, because we've never done that. So that'll be a stretch. but I'm really excited. I think that they will be fun experts to have and be really valuable for anyone listening, because they'll give us advice that I think can apply to anyone. Sorry, Waffles just scared Jet and he just ran out of here. And then my fail was, so I went to a yoga class I don't usually attend, purely to support my favorite yoga teacher. Shout out to Talia. She just graduated from her PhD program. I mean, she graduated and then she just finished her program. So she's now a physical therapist doctor, and it was her graduation party class. So I wanted to support her. And fun fact, she's actually the one who basically put the idea in my head to pursue becoming a yoga teacher. And I wanted to make her a little treat to celebrate her graduation. And I asked you what I should make, and you're like, obviously the Marry Me Blondies.
Hey.
And I did everything to a T. I was on track, mixed it exactly, did all the ingredients exactly, and then baking, I baked it a little under at first, but I'm always scared of over baking it, because I feel like over baking's way worse. So I underbaked it, it cooled. This is the first time this ever happened, but the edges were raised and then the middle kind of sank. And I asked AI about it. It's because it wasn't fully baked, and so the middle sank because of the heaviness. So I cut into it, and it was definitely underbaked, so I had to throw it back in. And obviously when you do that, it's just not as good when you have to rebake it. So I kind of failed a little bit there on my Marry Me Blondies. They still tasted great, but they just weren't.
Can't believe it. How
quite the
many
right
times
texture.
you've made
I know,
those?
how many made it thousands of times, I feel like. So it was a humbling experience that you can still mess up a recipe that you've made a million times, and a signature recipe
Right.
you've made a million times. So note to self that I need to, I didn't use the thermometer this time, because the last time I did it, it just wasn't reading properly. And it was done before it was reading the temperature that I'm used to seeing. So this time I said, forget it, I'm not going to use the thermometer, but I definitely should have. So that was my fail for the week.
And how's your YTT training going this week? I think last week we had an update of you were at like 69%, 68% or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, so I only got to 70% this week, but I am learning about pranayama, which is basically breath, and I'm learning about different types of breath work. So it's a little more interesting to me than the anatomy section. And I've been working on my first class script, which
So do you think next week you can lead us through like a short breath work on here?
Yeah, I could try, yeah.
Nice.
It might be very, very basic. But I recorded myself this week reading my class script that I edited and that I had originally practiced on my cousin. And I was feeling really good about that. I was going to take my own class essentially and listen to the audio and see if my cues were really clear. And then on Friday, because I attended a later class, I usually attend morning classes to get my workouts done in the morning. But since I was attending the later class for Talia's graduation party, I ended up attending a live Zoom call through my yoga program. And in it, it was about sequencing, and there was a bunch of stuff that was not clear in the instructions that I have to include in my final assignment. So now I need to rework the script that I spent all this time on. So I was a little bit bummed about that, but at least I had only done one, so it's not like I have to edit a bunch of them.
It's all a learning process.
It is. So, but I'm glad I attended that class, because some of these things were not clear in the instructions. So now I know, and I'm going to edit it and practice that some more. So making some progress.
Progress is better than no progress.
Yes. And my next goal is to, once I edit this, record myself again, take it, and then once I feel confident about that, probably practice on you and a few other people who've volunteered to be my guinea pigs.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see what the final product's going to be.
Yeah, what about you? Did you have any challenges or wins in your workouts this week?
No, I think the biggest win is getting to my workout all 3 days this week at the gym, and then actually stretched Monday through Friday, which was big. Sometimes I miss Fridays, I missed Saturday, so I need to get a makeup stretch in today at some point.
The weekends are a little tough.
I'm going to try to go for 30 minutes today instead of 15 minutes.
Can you handle 30 minutes? That's a big jump.
I mean, I need to make up for not stretching my 15 minutes yesterday.
I know, it's just a big jump for your body.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But so at some point or other, we need to get a 30-minute stretch in today.
What about pickleball? How was our
we did well yesterday, I think. I think we did
a little bit better than the week before.
We did get smashed our last game, but I think we played a lot better.
2 games, I think.
The one game I played against you, you were playing really well. When I was playing with, I think his name's Steve.
Oh, right.
The pool guy.
Right.
Yeah, he was really good. And then you were having some really nice shots back.
He was good.
And I think that was probably one of your best games that you've played.
Oh, thanks.
So I think that our skill level is advancing.
Yeah, you can definitely tell we're still beginners compared to pretty much
speak
everybody
for
else.
Yourself.
Okay, you can definitely tell I'm a beginner compared to everybody else. But I will say one thing I'm kind of
proud I've gotten out of the beginner class. I think I'm like not a beginner. I think I'm just a step above beginner.
You're like a 1.5.
Yeah, I'm not at like intermediate. I'm still in like beginner.
I'd say if 1's the starting point, I'd say maybe I'm like a 1.25.
Yeah, I think you made it out of the beginner phases.
I am proud of my serves being more consistent. They're not good. They're very easy to
I lost
hit.
my serve. I had a really good serve going on for a week.
Yeah, you had that crazy one that would go over the net, and it was low over the net and fast, and it would spin sometimes. Yeah. And it would drop in hard places. It would either drop really far back at the baseline, which would kind of get you, because if you're not standing far back enough, you couldn't move back, or it would be like right in a top corner or something that you just couldn't get to fast enough.
I've lost the touch. I think I'm like trying to, I don't know.
Sometimes you're trying to be too fancy too.
Yeah. I'm getting in my head now, I think.
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to concentrate too much is that pickleball ambassador dude who's like come from the bottom and like scoop up. I'm trying to like do that now. I don't know why I'm like changing my serve up, but.
Yeah, I think we need to just sometimes practice our serves. But if there's people already there and they want to play a game, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I think I just need to go back to what I was doing before. Just not thinking about it.
Yeah, just not thinking about it.
Not thinking about it, just hit it.
But for me, I'm proud because there was many games where I didn't hit it in the correct box, and people had to give me a lot of chances.
Yeah.
But now I'm at least consistently in the box, even if it's not, even if it's kind of an easy serve to return. But at least there's consistency.
I like it. So we just finished watching Reacher. Mm-hmm. What did you think about it? Did you like it compared to all the other seasons?
I mean, I'm always entertained because there's a lot of action, which is which is exciting. I like the kind of dry sense of humor it has. I probably would say the first season, just like most shows, was probably my favorite still. Again, I feel like we have a tendency to see this with Prime of kind of some seemingly small details, but you're like, come on, that's not super realistic.
The Amazon Prime way.
It just seems like they have that more common in shows where they got, I don't know, almost a little lazy.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, I still found it pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
and
it was worth the watch.
I still enjoyed it. We still finished the season, which is saying something.
Yeah, it was worth the watch.
Obviously, if it wasn't enjoyable, we just wouldn't finish it and waste our time.
Yeah.
And then we just started Tires on Netflix.
Tires, season 2.
You like Shane Gillis a lot, and he's really funny.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. Season 1, I think, is a lot funnier.
Mm-hmm. But still, I did enjoy that HR episode because I think anybody who's worked in any
capacity of management or HR.
Attended an HR training course, you kind of get it.
It really hits home.
Yeah, they say some things that sometimes you think in your head but you're not allowed to say, and it was entertaining.
It reminded me of The Office.
It did, yeah. It reminded me of The Office, a little bit more of a humble office. Yeah. Like definitely more of like even more of a boys club than even The Office was. But yeah, I liked that episode. That was entertaining. And then for me, what else I'm listening to? So my self-development coach, her name is Kathy Heller. She's awesome. Look her up. She has been doing a free podcasting boot camp this week, and so I attended both of those. And then she finishes it up next week, and then she's about to launch her podcast course in September, which I've been a member of her coaching group, so I get that for free included in my membership, which I'm really excited about because obviously there's a lot of room for improvement here. We're really figuring it out as we go, and I'm excited to have a little bit more guidance on...
So what you're saying, after September's over... Actually,
well, it's a 12-week program.
Actually, when September ends... Do you know how to get with that?
Was that Weezer?
I think it was Green Day.
Oh. Okay, I get the two confused. One of the two. Maybe it was Green Day.
So when September ends, are we going to have like a huge, highly produced podcast?
No. But also, it's a 12-week program, but I think I'll find some little improvements. I don't think we'll ever be a highly produced podcast.
So by like December?
So it's September through December, and hopefully you'll see some improvements. I can't say it's going to be night and day, but hopefully you'll see some improvements.
Okay. Well, that's actually a great segue into kind of the meat and potatoes for today's podcast. We wanted to talk about you and your career pivot. So I think that we should kind of start off is, what made you feel that you were kind of stuck and unfulfilled in corporate life, and why did you want to make that jump and leave the comfort zone of a 9-to-5, steady paycheck and what you're doing now?
So I was in a business program that my boss sponsored me to be in. It was a 2-year program through Vistage. If anyone's heard of that, they usually have CEO groups. It's pretty cool. They have CEOs, they pair you up, I think, with similarly sized businesses across all different industries. And you basically go there to have a little bit of a think tank between each other and to have, camaraderie, because a lot of times you can relate because you have similar issues, even if they're in different industries.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so they also had this program for basically rising stars in different businesses. And so all of our bosses were in the Vistage CEO group, and then their Vistage leader did this emerging leaders group. And so all of our bosses sponsored us to be there. It went on for 2 years. It was every other month. I actually really enjoyed it. Kind of reminded me of being back in school. So we'd have guest speakers come in, and then the end half of the day, we would bring any issues that were having in our business and use the think tank basically to help us come up with ideas and solutions. And in this process, kind of towards the end of the 2-year mark, there was a speaker who was, I think, the #1 speaker in Vistage. And so some of these other CEOs came in just to listen to the guest speaker. And they all happened to be female entrepreneurs I actually recognized some of them from being in my boss's group. And when they did their own introductions and were talking about their businesses, they were so passionate about their business. And I just sat there thinking, wow, I wish I knew what that feeling felt like, because every job that I've had has just felt like a job. Like, there have been parts that have been interesting, but nothing has made me feel that passionate. Mm-hmm. So that was the first kind of spark of, I want to chase that feeling of being so lit up by your work and what you're doing that it comes through in your energy about even just speaking about it. So once I got that in my head, I started doing a deep dive on mainly YouTube of any female entrepreneur who I admired. And because I like baking so much, it actually started with female entrepreneurs in the baking space. So it was Christina Tosi, who created Milk Bar. It was Ina Garden from Barefoot Contessa. It was Candace Nelson from Sprinkles, the cupcake company here in LA. And I listened to every interview that they had and was just trying to figure out, okay, how did they get from where they started to what they've now become? They've all had these amazing empires. And Candace Nelson was on this podcast, and I was listening on YouTube. And there was only like 5 likes and like 100 listens. And I was like, why would Candace Nelson be on this podcast when this person doesn't seem like they have that many followers? So then I, started doing a deep dive on this podcaster who ended up being Kathy Heller, who, as I mentioned, is my coach. She coaches thousands of women. And I sort of started consuming all of her content. And her original podcast was called Don't Keep Your Day Job. And basically it was encouraging, she started out as a songwriter, so it was encouraging creatives to follow their passion and make it into a business so that you could live a really fulfilling life. And so I did this deep dive on her for a while, even before I was ready to become a part of her coaching group. And then once I joined her coaching group, it's probably 99% women, and really inspiring to hear people at different levels, people who have been in her group for a while and they are making it, they're doing what they love and making a ton of money doing it. People who are totally just starting out as me, who were thinking, I don't even know what my dreams are anymore because I've just been climbing this corporate ladder for so long, and was that not the dream, just to keep climbing and hopefully make more money someday? And then you feel really lost and unfulfilled at the end of the day and just burnt out.
How long was this whole thing stewing in your system before you decided to finally make the jump and leave?
Probably a year and a half. So probably for a good 6 months, I did the deep dive into female entrepreneurs, and then started finding Kathy Heller's podcast and content. And then I talked to you about it. And I was like, the other reason too was, as much as I love my previous boss, he's the best boss I've ever worked for. He takes really good care of his employees. The business itself I didn't connect with the business. It wasn't my life's dream. I just really liked working for him.
Right.
And I liked having a small business feel and getting to learn so many different departments. But at the same time, my role at that company had transitioned more into, it was starting to go into more HR, and it was very heavily in finance, which I was very honest, I almost failed finance in business school. I literally only passed because it was on a curve, and people failed worse than I did. So I was completely honest about that. Like, accounting 1, I figured it out. Accounting 2, again, almost failed. So I just was drowning in Excel documents, and I know some Excel now throughout my jobs, but just living in Excel felt like Dementors sucking out my soul every day. And so I was just miserable in that sense. And my boss used to say this, but he was like, the only time people are ready to change is when the fear of staying the same is greater than the fear of change. And that's kind of the point that I hit, where I was miserable. I think I was randomly crying sometimes because I was just so stressed. And being someone who's an overachiever, and as much as I love working from home, it also was a little bit of an unhealthy environment, because I basically would work until you got home, and you wouldn't get home until 8.
Yeah.
So I'd work 12 plus hour days all the time, because there was just, the to-do list never ended, and I always felt like I need to get it done so that tomorrow is not as miserable. But then it wouldn't really pay off, and I would have no breaks, and that was partially my own doing. But it was almost just, I needed to get out of that environment, even because I didn't have enough boundaries for myself. So I originally went into a coaching conversation with my old boss thinking I was just going to share. One of the things, I would never share how I was feeling with any other previous boss, because I would be worried that they would fire me or just tell me to, basically force me out if I expressed wanting to leave. But because he also was such a proponent of self-development and following your dreams, I felt more empowered to be honest with him. And I also wanted to have an open conversation, because I was his executive assistant. So I was his, he had a right-hand man, but I was his left-hand woman. So I didn't want to leave him hanging and just give him a 2 weeks notice either. I didn't feel like that was fair after working for him for over 4 years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to basically have the conversation so that when I was ready to leave, it wouldn't be a surprise and he could find someone else and hopefully have enough time for me to train that person. And I told him, and he totally supported it. And he was almost like, you should leave almost immediately and go chase your dreams. And I was like, whoa, because we were going to Europe last year. This is a little bit before Europe. And actually his number 2 person was going to go off and do their own thing as well. So I really didn't want to leave him high and dry. So
he would have lost his number one and number two.
That's just how much, that's how much he cared though, was he was okay with losing both people at the same time just for me to go after my dreams too. But I was like, whoa, maybe let's slow roll this. So let's have it be a couple months after I get back. Then, so this was in May of last year. May of last year? Yeah. And then I was set for September. September kind of comes around. I sort of had a freak out and was feeling really, really scared because as much as it was something I wanted to do, it was totally out of character for me. I've never left a job without having another job lined up ever. And so I sort of had a little freak out. They were really nice about it. They're like, okay, how about you just stay one more month, but we don't want you to stay longer than that because you need to go do this. And that's when I did a lot of soul searching and I really thought about, okay, if I'm on my deathbed, am I going to regret doing it and potentially failing, or am I going to regret not doing it? And I was thinking 100% I would regret not doing it. So as much as it feels really safe to have income coming in every 2 weeks, as much as it feels safe to have benefits, as long as, we had a conversation about it, and luckily you were super supportive of it. And I was thinking, is this the worst time ever to do this because we're getting married and this seems crazy? But then we talked about it and it was like, there's never going to be a good time because hopefully we'll have kids after we get married, and then that's its own whole thing. So if you're going to do it, it's almost now is the worst time to do it. So I finally was about to leave in October, or I was about to leave November 1st. And then I was actually in charge of planning the corporate retreat that we had around December every year. And at the last minute, my boss at the time was asking me, could you stay on just to plan that? And I was like, okay, I'm only staying on to plan that. I'm not doing any other tasks. And so it was kind of nice because it was a slow transition out. And then I appreciated it with the holidays. I got to spend more time with my family than I probably ever have around the holidays, for at least since school maybe.
Right.
And then during the fires in January, it was nice to not have the stress of my job on top of that. And then I officially left in February. And yeah, definitely a lot. I mean, people are not joking when they say that your shit comes up when you leave to go on your own path. I think, quote unquote, imposter syndrome of who am I to do this? What am I even doing? What even are my dreams anymore? And just even how it feels weird to not be making income for the first time has been things that I've had to work through and focus on, okay, pushing myself really hard. The reason why I even thought of yoga, as I mentioned, my yoga teacher, right when I was leaving, asked me, have you ever thought about teaching yoga? And this is a complete side note, but if anyone's into human design, I found out that I'm a projector, which means that my energy is best used when I'm invited to do something. I can't just run all the time, which I had been doing it in corporate, and probably explained why I felt burnt out all the time. And so I was trying to lean into that. So it's like, oh, is this an invitation to do something? And I thought about becoming a yoga teacher in my 20s, but in LA at least, I mean, those programs can range 2K, 5K plus, and the base level yoga teacher certification is 200 hours. So I didn't have the time when I was working corporate, and I definitely didn't have the money when I was in my 20s. And then now I was like, okay, well, I have the time because I'm leaving corporate, but I don't necessarily want to spend 5K from my savings to do a program. And she showed me an online program that was $400. So I was like, okay, I could do that. Self-guided. So I'm doing that. And then I was originally trying to figure out an aspect of wellness baking because I love baking. But I was like, okay, we try to eat healthy and we are trying to eat less processed foods. So how can I maybe use avoid using refined sugar and use honey, maple syrup, or coconut sugar instead, things like that. So I was trying to do both of those at the same time. And what I realized was because I guess you don't learn until you actually try, was baking was actually kind of burning me out because I wasn't enjoying posting the content, and my back was hurting after some of the days of standing all day because I went from a desk job to all of a sudden standing all day, and my back was hurting. And then you get to the end of the day and you have 500 trillion dishes because I'm not at the point where I can pay someone to do my dishes yet,
right.
unless you want to help out when you get home, which absolutely not. So I decided, okay, I like baking, but maybe I'm not at the passion level of wanting to do this 24/7. So let me focus on yoga. And as soon as I did that, I actually felt so much relief. I felt like I wasn't making enough progress trying to do both. Like 1 week I would almost be focused on baking, and then I would not even look at yoga. And then the next week I'd try to catch up on yoga and then be like, shoot, I didn't post anything about my baking. So once I just focused on one thing, I felt a lot of relief. And that's how I kind of knew I was on the right path with at least yoga. That's not necessarily my end goal, but at least it's a starting point. It's a foundation.
Mm-hmm. So all these self-development practices that you've been going through or you've been learning for the past, call it 2 years now, what are some key resources that you've used to grow personally and professionally that you can share with us?
Yeah, so one of the things that I heard from multiple successful entrepreneurs, business icons, that they meditate every day, and that some of them journal.
You've been journaling for quite some time.
Yeah, so
do you think it's helped you? Do you think it's been a waste of time?
So I was never a person who liked to journal. My journaling varies. Sometimes it's 5 pages, sometimes it's 1. I try to do that as soon as I wake up. So I try to meditate for 15, 20 minutes, and guided meditations help me.
Did you journal today?
I haven't been doing it on the weekends. I mostly do it Monday through Friday because usually the weekends are so busy. So just like you're stretching, I probably need to work into the weekends a little bit more. But I do that Monday through Friday. I meditate. I like the guided meditations. It helps my brain focus a little bit more. And then I journal. And so sometimes I have a lot, especially if something's weighing on me, if I'm upset about something or have any range of emotions, it is nice to jot it out and get it out. And it is nice to set an intention for my day. Sometimes I stick to it, sometimes I don't. I think an improvement practice for me would be to maybe do a reflection at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But at least starting the day out, I do feel good when I do that. Sometimes I do breath work instead. Sometimes I try to work in just listening to a song and dancing because that's what always gets my energy the highest. And then, listening to different audiobooks. Again, I prefer to listen to female entrepreneurs who I admire or self-development books from women the most. I think that usually resonates with me. And, one of my favorite books that actually my previous boss had recommended to somebody else, but then I thought the title was cool, and so I looked into it, and now I've read all of the books that she's written. But You Are a Badass, really funny book on self-development. I think her humor made the self-development. That was like my first self-development book I listened to. I think her humor made it feel more accessible to me instead of being super serious. Mm-hmm. And and then actually investing in myself and joining Kathy Heller's coaching group, especially for women, because one of the things that you could probably hear in many self-development books, and I think there's that book called, I think it's like 5 Habits I'm talking about habits.
Atomic Habits? 5?
Yeah, I think it's Atomic Habits.
Highly successful people or something?
Yes. And she actually had him on her podcast, and she said, what is the number one habit that people need to do to become successful? And he said, really curate the people around you because you become more like them. So in your circle, you should have
the old saying is surround yourself by people that you want to be like.
Yes. So you should have people who you aspire to be, and you should also have people who are just in general, investing in themselves, trying to make themselves better. And for me, I was thinking, okay, I have amazing friends, but I don't necessarily know that a lot of people are on a self-development journey as much as I am. And so having a community in my coaching group of other women who are also not only trying to better themselves, but also try to create businesses, it has been hugely impactful, because some of the coaching calls, we go into breakout rooms, and sometimes I'm like, oh, is this a waste of time, or whatever. But then you talk to people, and again, we're all going through the same thing, or they've already made it out on the other side of what you're going through and can offer you support and maybe what worked for them. So that's been huge. And then in general, just so many things that she says resonate with me. Getting out of your own way, thinking of the person you ideally want to serve, and setting down the things that are holding you back, and just thinking of how much you want to help your ideal customer are, I'm still struggling with a lot of that, and I'm still a recovering perfectionist and A student. One of the things that came up in my coaching program was, she likes to say, be a C student, do it messy. As long as you get it done, it's better than not doing it at all. And people who struggle with perfectionism tend to not do it at all, which I can definitely relate to. I think if I was doing this podcast by myself and not with you, it probably wouldn't be up for another year, if ever, because I would re-record everything. I would want to have the plan in place. I'd want to have every episode figure it out. One of the projects that I really learned, we did a mood board, and mine was 5 or 6 pages long instead of just one. And I was like, I think I told you, I just realized I don't think I know how to be a C student.
No.
I've only gotten A's my whole life. Like, I really don't, like, this is actually hard for me to not overachieve and to not try to have it be perfect. So that's why I like doing this with you, because you teach me to lean more into
You're calling me a C student.
I mean, you're better at just doing it, just putting it out there without it needing to feel like there's,
because we'll get better and better with each one that we post. So that's what you gotta do.
That's something that I'm leaning into. Yeah. But I think you got more C's than I did, and so you kind of know how to do. You kind of are more okay with it than someone like me who.
So what you're saying is I'm a good support system for you.
Yes, and I say you stretch me, and even when we first posted our initial podcast, I thought you meant the following Wednesday. So I was like, great, I have all this time to mentally, and you're like, it's up, and I immediately felt, oh my gosh, no, it's not ready, it's not cleaned up, it's not all these things, and then I had to tell myself, well, it's up, it's done, like, move on. So you helped me lean into that and be more authentic and just get it done, because that can be a struggle for someone who has
a type A personality.
Not just type A, but who is an overachiever, and I've probably been an overachiever since preschool. So it's hard to unprogram and tell myself it's safe to be messy when it's not something that's felt safe for 30 plus years.
Do you feel like you're becoming more confident about being on this path?
I think I've had ups and downs for sure. I call it the Play-Doh phase of I'm smashing things together, seeing how it works. One of the hardest things for me, which I think I have made a lot of progress in, was surrendering. And I've been, I don't want to say healing, but I've been maybe building and more intentionally focusing on more of my spirituality. So my coach is also very spiritual. And I've never been religious, really. I explored that as a kid, and I figured that wasn't for me. So I haven't had a spiritual aspect in my life for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And then finding her and listening to her, she's Jewish, but she speaks from a more broad spirituality. that has helped me a lot because you feel part of something bigger than just yourself. But I will say, because it is newer, surrendering to the idea that the universe has your back and is going to guide you in the right direction, and I need to stop controlling and needing to know the outcome before I even try things, was really, really, really a big struggle in the beginning, because I didn't want to fail at anything. So it was like, I don't want to go down this path if it's not going to work out. Or I don't want to do this if I can't figure out a way to make money off of it. And that's totally, she's
the
like,
wrong way to look at it.
Yes, that's the opposite way. You need to start with like what feels fun and exciting to you, and then the rest will fall into place.
Is all this still feeling fun and exciting, or has it kind of lost its luster over the past 8 months?
No, it's definitely feeling fun and exciting, and I think once I work through my own like insecurities or need to control, need to know the outcome, I've made way more progress than I previously was. Because first I was too scared to even try anything because I needed to know how it was going to work out. And now it's like, okay, yoga specifically feels really good. And if anything, I'm deepening my practice, but I would love to teach. And I think the podcast has felt exciting because it felt like a fun project for us to do as a couple, but also is stretching me in a lot of ways. And I think getting me more comfortable with public speaking, which will help me do yoga teaching, and vice versa. I think teaching a class will help me feel more confident even speaking on this podcast. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it does feel fun and exciting, and it has felt like a relief that the outcome's not necessarily on me. I just need to keep taking steps forward that feel good and feel like my heart is telling me to follow this, and just trust that doors I can't even see will open as a result.
I think they're starting to open.
I think they are starting to open too.
I think they're starting to open. I think that you're really finding your stride in what you're doing, and it's awesome to see you make progress. And I'm excited for you to get to your 100%.
Yes.
On your YTT classes, and then see where you go from there.
Yes. Yeah. My goal is to complete my yoga teacher training, YTT, hopefully by our wedding. And then I hope goal is to get my own class, but even if I can just start out subbing, that would be cool. And then I also want to hopefully do some, even if they're free events on my own, like in a park or something, and just get more practice. And then eventually my dream is to plan events and retreats. I actually, in a former life, I used to work at hotels doing corporate events for 5 years. And I do really enjoy event planning, but just the corporate events, they're boring to me. Want something more exciting. And my coach actually does retreats, so I would love to
do it for her,
be involved with her. But even more so, it would be cool to even do it for myself, or even if we ended up doing things for couples or just people in general, it would be really fun. I have a lot of ideas for it. Again, I'm not really sure how to get from where I am to there, but as my coach says, just focus on the next breadcrumb, one thing at a time. If you were to get all the information at once, you'd actually be really overwhelmed. So I'm just, first step, finish my yoga teacher certification, and then things will follow.
If we had to wrap everything up in one big box, what would be your biggest takeaway that our audience can learn from what you've been applying in the last 8 months to 12 months?
I would say, as cliche as it is, this is the only life we have, so you might as well shoot your shot and take the risk. Because, at least for me, I would rather, it sounds a little morbid, but I would rather die knowing that I tried to pursue my dreams and, died trying at least, than to have stayed...
50 Cent?
Yeah, than have stayed honestly quite miserable in a job that I didn't love just because it felt secure. And so luckily I have my partner who is really supportive. And
partners.
Yeah, all of our partners here in our household supporting me. And thankfully I have a lot of friends and family, and thankfully I have my coaching group supporting me. Otherwise, I don't think I could do it alone. But I would say if you have a whisper in your heart, you should go after it, because we only have one life, and you might as well make the most of it.
Well, great. Thanks for sharing all that with us. I really enjoyed hearing that.
Thanks for listening and making it through this whole episode to me talking.
Well, that's our third episode, so I hope you enjoyed it. And again, please comment, like, and subscribe.
Yep.
You can find us on Not Fully Qualified on all social channels,
yep.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts. Instagram.
And if you have anything that you want to share, any fails, wins, any similar stories that we could possibly read on the podcast, you can email us at notfullyqualified@gmail.com.
Woof.
Thanks for listening.